It's pouring. Gumby, how do you feel about the rain?
My feet are already wet.
Okay, we hiked our 3 miles and we made it to the Kennebec River. Hello. And now we just wait for the canoe to come and cross us.
I noticed when he was going that way.
Well, I mean, when 2 o'clock rolls around, I'm out of here. I don't hang around. I mean, if there's somebody here.
Hi. He's so cute. I recently learned about a term called the freedom step. Learned it last night from 2 other hikers. And it's when you're walking and your foot slips into a river or something, or a puddle or whatever it might be, and gets wet. And it's called the freedom step because now you are free from having to try to avoid getting wet. So you can just chomp through the puddles. And even though my shoes were wet this morning, I was hoping they would dry out. But then crossing a river, Gumby and I were trying to find a way across that would keep our feet dry. I got my freedom step in, and so now our feet are just wet. But Gumby is gonna walk until he can no longer walk, which doesn't sound like something I want to do. So I either have 14 and a half miles left or 18 and a half miles left today, depending on how I feel. And the difference between those 2 places is 1,400 feet of elevation. So we'll see how today goes. Well, the blueberries have done it again. I am not going to make it the 23 miles. I think I'm only going to make it the 19 miles. It's like 3:35. I probably have a little less than 3 miles left. I don't really want to go over this next mountain so late. So, it's kind of like wet today. Things are slippery. And then there was the blueberries. So, I'm just enjoying myself. But tomorrow, after this mountain, should be pretty easy. So I'm not really worried about getting to the end location too late in the day or anything like that. Hello. About 4.5 miles into my day. It's 7:30. Have about 18 miles to the road. And it should just be like sort of rolly. Hoping for it to be not very rocky. A friend of mine yesterday rolled into camp I was at. I had seen them on the trail while I was eating blueberries, and they stopped to eat blueberries, and then I kept going, and I was wondering why they never caught up to me, but just thought, oh, maybe they're eating a lot of blueberries. And turns out they fell. She fell and scraped up her leg, bumped her head on the slippery rocks. So just hoping it's not too rocky today so I can make it through pretty quick. They have shuttles at 12, 2, 4, and 6, hoping to make the 4 o'clock. So we'll see how it goes. Remember how I was talking about the freedom step yesterday? Let me show you. It's freedom 20 steps. I think that's the trail. That's knee deep for me. So I just walked through the knee deep part, and now I come to this. You probably cannot see, but I'm fairly certain this is going to be waist deep water. I know I said we needed more water on this trail, but I didn't mean this much. The trail over there, that's the trail. That's 3.5 feet deep. Oh boy. I think I'm just never going to be dry again for the rest of this trail. of a week left. It's been wet and rainy for 3 days. That water was indeed crotch deep. I know I'm short, but I mean, crotch deep water on the Appalachian Trail? Come on, let's save that for the PCT. Another one. I'm in the river. I have no idea how deep this one goes. And the water's moving like kind of quick. I think I'm going to unclip my backpack. So that one only went about knee high. So that was nice. And it was a lot clearer. That one that went crotch high was very mucky. And this one was a lot of stone. So it was very clear. So I feel like it washed out the muck from my shoes a little bit. Though I could still feel some dirt in there. And there was a Sobo on the other side of the river who hadn't quite crossed yet, and she told me that there's one more river crossing that goes about knee high. So yeah, I think it's just toe soup today and maybe tomorrow. Just when I thought my shoes were drying out, I guess this is the other one the lady, the Sobo lady was telling me about. It's pretty refreshing, but, whoa, she said it only went knee deep. What is she, like 10 feet tall? Ah! Yeah, it's pretty deep, but, you know, it's kind of nice. Some little fishies. Whoa! God. So I made it the 22 miles in record time, made it to Shaw's for the 2 o'clock, or made it to the road for the 2 o'clock shuttle, and now I'm at the resupply that they have, which is pretty good. Look at all that food. I'm stocked up, ready to go.
And I said, I wish, but I think you're...
Today we are slackpacking. Woohoo! So 15 miles only, which is more than we were originally planning on doing today anyway. My feet are kind of messed up. They have all these like weird red chafe spots, but half the people at the hostel also had those, and a lot of them were worse than mine. So yeah, but today we're supposed to ford a lot of rivers, which is part of why we're slackpacking, so we can go back to the hostel after and have dry feet. So at the end of today, after our slack pack, why are you always trying to get in my monologues? At the end of today, after the slack pack, we have something big. Yeah. Only 100 miles left. First river crossing of the day. Dry socks, no more. So we just had our second river crossing, like an actual ford, and it again went crotch high. We sent Gumby first for, you know, he's the least to lose if it's like really deep. And now Neo's trying to cross. But it's actually a pretty strong current. Like, it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't so strong. Okay, so we're ending our day. Everything's kind of backwards because we slack packed Sobo, but we're ending our day by leaving the 100-mile wilderness, which means tomorrow we will officially be in the 100-mile wilderness for good. So exciting.
At the bottom, because that's a thing in Battlestar Galactica.
So the thing about the 100-mile wilderness is it's 100 miles. And they suggest, as you saw on the sign, that you carry 10 days of food. We're not doing that. We're planning on making it through in about 6 days. And instead of carrying 6 days of food, the hostel we're staying at will do a food drop somewhere on the way, somewhere in the middle. So just got some resupply now, got some resupply yesterday. I'm going to organize my stuff, and then we're going to figure out, we had a schedule for the 100-mile wilderness, but then we might change it. So we need to figure that out now so that we can get our resupply drop worked out, because they hand it off to you in person. They don't just leave the food in the woods. So you kind of have to be there when you say you're going to be there. So we want to make sure we give ourselves reasonable time to get there. So I'm going to go figure out if I have enough food, if I need to go back to the gas station or their resupply store or the general store, and then figure out what we want our schedule to be. And then ideally maybe a shower, maybe re-launder my clothes. Our last hostel. How's everyone feeling about the last hostel?
Sad.
Sad.
You might have to say it louder because you're far away.
I'm feeling sad.
I am very emotional.
We're here, the last mile marker. 2100.
Wow, I haven't thought of that in so long.
That's a plane. Good morning in the 100-mile wilderness, and I am 4 days away from Katahdin, which is kind of crazy to think about. When I first started doing all this, it's kind of crazy to think that like I was living in the woods, walking, camping, eating dehydrated food every day. Like, whoa, this is my life. This is crazy. And I feel like I said that a couple times, that it felt kind of surreal. And now, you know, kind of gotten used to it, and it's crazy that it's coming to an end in 4 days. And that's the thing, it's like such a sudden, such an abrupt end. Like, it doesn't taper off. So it's kind of weird to think about that I won't be doing this every day anymore. But I'm looking forward to what's coming after, and I think that's important. A lot of people I've talked to out here don't really have things going on afterwards, and that's fine. But I think it's going to help fight the post-trail depression, as they call it, to have things to look forward to. And I certainly have things to look forward to. One of them being flush toilets. So, yeah, 4 days left, 18 miles today. At some point soon, river fording, where I'm determined to keep my feet dry, and yeah, should be a good day. So that was a little clip of the video, the river I have to cross. Doesn't look like it'll be more than shin deep, but got my shoes attached to my bag right there, and I'm just hesitant because I think it's gonna be really cold. And it's a little chilly today, so it's not going to be like super refreshing. But got my sandals on. And I'm ready. I'm ready. Oh, it is cold. Oh, okay. Not so bad. Oh, it's only shin deep. I mean, I guess I'm at the beginning, but it doesn't look like it's going to be all that bad. And the rocks aren't so slippery like they were in like some of the other rivers the other day. Oh, I just splashed my own butt with my sandal. Okay, I'm gonna put this away and focus on crossing now. Okay, river fording done, and I did not fall in, though I did have a slip where I just took a moment and I said, do not fall, because it'd be one thing to have my shoes wet, it would be another thing entirely to have everything in my backpack wet. So now the day begins. I think it's mostly uphill. The trail kind of like snakes around weirdly at this part, basically just to hit every mountain possible before Katahdin. So today we walk up, our highest peak is Whitecap, which apparently you can see Katahdin from there on a good day. So I'm hoping today is a good day. And yeah, just gonna be up, but ideally with some good views. So I'm in this section of trail, pretty close to where we're having camp tonight, and there's so many blueberries. It was wild. So I was eating blueberries, and I was like, gosh, there's so many blueberries around here. This is ridiculous. No one's stopping. Suddenly, zzz, fucking mosquitoes. Oh my god. I am naturally the opposite of bug repellent, but this was like something out of control. Gah! And so I try to spray some bug spray so I could keep eating blueberries, because these I'm walking by, so hundreds of beautiful, giant, juicy blueberries. Biggest I've ever seen on this trail. And the reason why there's so many is because no one stopped. Because when you stop, the mosquitoes come up. Gah! Okay, I'm gonna put this away so I can keep running. It got me thinking. This situation is sort of like, you know that scene in Lilo and Stitch where the two aliens have gone to Earth to get Stitch back since he's a prisoner and he escaped? It's sort of like that scene where the one who's a biologist sees a mosquito and is like, oh my gosh, a mosquito, they're so rare, they're endangered, or whatever it is. And then he's suddenly swarmed by them and is like freaking out and then is covered in bumps. That's me. I'm that alien. Oh, wait. Oh, I see the shelter. Oh, thank God. Well, was not expecting to have to ford a river that early in the morning, and it was black, so you couldn't see where you were putting your feet, and at points I was like crotch deep. So a cold way to start the morning. Like, when you're not mentally prepared for a ford, it's kind of hard. But we are heading 11 miles to pick up our food drop at Joe Mary Road, and then we have another 11 or 12 or something afterwards to camp. So big day, but it's supposed to be mostly flat after this mountain that I'm climbing now. So shouldn't be terrible. So we just picked up our food drop from Joe Mary Road. So we are now flush with food again. Yeah, so got our food, and we really only have 2 full hiking days left to Katahdin, and then we Nero on to Katahdin. So it's pretty crazy, but it's supposed to be, excuse me while I cross this little creek, it's supposed to be mostly flat until, you know, you hit the mountain at the end. And then yeah, so we have a couple big days coming up, but I'll be fueled up and get to see my dad and my boyfriend at Katahdin. Fortunately, my mom and brother couldn't come, but I'll see them after. I'll give them a phone call. That's a moose track. Maybe I'll get to see a moose today. So we've made it to camp. It's a beautiful spot on a little peninsula, lots of flat areas. But there's like 4G cell service like I can get on YouTube. And I think my expectations for the 100-mile wilderness were like a little skewed by the word wilderness. I thought like we wouldn't be seeing many people, there'd be no cell service, you know, things you expect from a wilderness. There's been lots of day hikers, section hikers. We got our food drop today, but we crossed a road that like other people were at. And I've had cell service enough to like call my mom earlier in the day and then check my comments on one of my YouTube videos. So wilderness, but it's beautiful. And yeah, when we saw Katahdin earlier today, it was like 16 miles away about, but we still have like 40 something to hike to it. So it's funny how they like snake you around in here. But only 2 more full days of hiking and then we Nero to Katahdin, so soaking it in. So I was enjoying my daily stroll in the woods when I look up and Gumby says, "Be careful." He's sitting on this rock. What happened to you, Gumby?
I got stung real bad.
Yeah, something big bit him twice. Gave him some Benadryl. We sat for a few minutes and it didn't change, but now I'm afraid. So, raincoat as protection, bottom half, sorry, and my bug net, just in case. And ideally we walk 100 feet and nothing happens. But also Gumby threw his trekking poles down somewhere. Invisible to us right now, so we'll see what happens. So it is our last night camping in the woods. I mean, tomorrow we're still camping. We're camping at Katahdin Stream Campground, but it's like a real campground. I think they have like toilets there and stuff, so it's not quite the same, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. 1 more night on trail. That's it. It's wild.
What?
That will never happen.
Yeah, I mean,